Hey, everybody. I'm here with Jocelyn Deal. She has been in real estate for 5 years and just exploded her business the last few years, exploded her income. She's doing some big things. We're going to have a good conversation. Stick around. Here we go. Jocelyn, how are you?
Good, you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate being on here. I know you're busy. I know it's we're recording this right now, the 21st of December. So it's right before Christmas, and there's just all kinds of stuff going on. We've all going 10 directions, but I appreciate your time. Definitely appreciate being on here. So anyway, how's tell me your story. Tell me you've been in real estate for 5 years. When I saw your numbers, I was just like, holy cow, I've got to talk to Jocelyn. I mean, you've done way more than what most people do. Some people do in their entire career, let alone 5 years. So first of all, congratulations on the kind of success you're having, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Doing some big things. When did you talk about your transition? What did you do before real estate?
I was in beauty sales. So I did direct sales with a beauty company, and I was with them for, I think, eight years. So basically like my whole young 20s.
Okay. What gets you into real estate?
So got a phone call that the company was shutting down, and my husband was like, what next? And without even batting an eye, I said real estate.
There you go. What did you have a background with it somewhere before, or was it just, you'd seen some HGTV shows and thought, what got you into what made it such an easy decision for you?
Yeah, so real estate's always been an interest of mine. It started when I went with my parents, of course, when they were looking for a house when I was in 5th grade. So I saw the car the lady was driving, and I was like, ooh, if she can have that kind of a car and she does this and that, that might be appealing. And so that always kind of like stuck with me, and I had always had an interest in it, something that I wanted to pursue, but it just, the timing wasn't ever right. And so with them announcing that they were shutting doors, I knew the timing was perfect. So that a couple of days later, I met up with a real estate company and talked with them about everything that I needed to do, and then signed up for classes right then and there. So
okay, very good. How has it been? How was it when you first got started? It can be challenging the first couple of years. You're building a business. I mean, how was it for you?
The hardest part was the leads. I didn't have a sphere of influence at all. So I had moved back here. So I'm from Indiana. I moved to LA for a couple of years. I was out there for 4.5 years. Before that, I was in a different part of Indiana. So like I didn't have a network here in Indianapolis at all. Okay. And so and what sphere I did have, they weren't necessarily in the market for a home. So I had no leads. So my first year, I really struggled with making money. I did 12 transactions, but majority of those were like investors buying $20,000 properties. So I made like 15 grand my first year, and or 16 grand. And that's not enough to do anything off of. So so that first year, I would say the leads were my biggest struggle.
Okay. And then it started to take off. Your second year went better?
36 transactions, second year.
36 your second year. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. What'd you do different? I mean, obviously you were learning a ton that first year. What'd you end up, were you getting some referrals from the investors? Were you getting some, leads from your company that you were with before? Or how did you end up doing, 3 times the number of deals?
So the team that I was on the first year, they didn't provide leads. Okay. And then I found out that leads are something that a team should be providing. And so I did switch companies and went with a different team that actually provided leads. So that was the difference, is I was given leads and so I could convert the leads, and so long as I had the leads, I could make something happen.
Okay. Yeah, let's ask this, because there's gonna be all different agents that'll be watching this over time. Some that have been around for a long time, whatever. I've been doing this 21 years now. Some that have been doing it for, maybe brand new, just got licensed. Like, what would you tell? If you could go back and do something different, knowing what you know now, like what would you do differently going back to your first year than what you did?
I would say the first year I went with I went with support. I went with people that I knew that would help me and handhold me along this process because I didn't know anything about real estate. I knew that I was stepping into a brand new industry of somewhere that I didn't know anything at all. So I was very grateful for the support. But if you don't have anything to work with, then you don't have anything. And so I would say, I guess, interview and see who out there would be a good fit for you, not just support wise, but leads wise as well. Like you need those, you need the business. You can't make anything from nothing. And so you've got to have something to work with.
Right. Okay. And so you're 36 deals your second year. And then, I was like, I was blown away. Then I was reading, some of this, I saw your post the other day. And you went from 36, you added 7 more deals your third year. You did 43 deals. That's when you made the move over to eXp, was year 3, right? You did 7 more deals coming over, but you 3 times your income,
Yeah.
extra income. Talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean, was that when did you looked at eXp? Did you look at it the first time and just make the move over? Did it take you
Oh
long?
my gosh, I could not sleep that night. I could not sleep. My brain was reeling with the possibilities. Like
Okay.
I was like, oh man, if they have all of this that they could offer me, imagine what could happen with my business. So the beautiful thing about EXP is that like it is whatever you make of it, and it meets you wherever you are in your career and what your desires are. So it has something available to everybody. So that's the beautiful thing about it. And so when I saw the EXP explain presentation, it spoke volumes to me, and I could not sleep that night.
Yeah. So did you move over pretty quick after seeing it?
I was silly and did not,
Okay.
because I was already capped where I was. And so I thought I had to wait out my cap and everything else. And so I wish I would have come over sooner,
Yeah.
but you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah,
so
you
I
don't have to
waited.
do that anymore. I've been with EXP now for 5 years, and at first it was like that, but now EXP will honor the cap,
Yeah.
and you can bring that on over here, which is nice. So,
Yeah.
okay. So it took you a while to make the move. How long
I
was
think
it
it was,
after? Go ahead.
yeah, I think it was about 3 months. I think I saw it. Well,
Yeah.
I saw it in September, I believe, and I moved over at the end of December. So I'm at my 3-year anniversary next week.
Okay, good. So how you were able to 3x your income? Was it just because you did higher volume, the volume of sales? I mean, in terms of the price of the homes was bigger, or was it more about what EXP offers?
EXP fully.
Really? Oh,
So I went the splits, on a team, giving them, if it was their lead, I was receiving about 35% of the commission.
oh
So
wow.
to go from making 35% to 80% and then 100% and then 100+%, because I
Yeah,
iconed my first year at
yeah.
EXP. And so not only did I earn my entire, um, my cap plus I don't know how much people know, but
Go ahead
like,
and talk about that for a second, because there will be a lot of agents that aren't part of EXP. Talk about that when you hit icon status. Like, just explain that to people. What does that mean when you do
yeah. So when you hit, okay, so basically in order to cap, it's a 16K cap as an independent agent. And then after that, so before it's an 80-20 split. And then once you cap, you go up to 100%. And then you just have a 250 transaction fee for the next 20 transactions. And then once you hit those 20 transactions, then you go to a 75% transaction fee. But
that?
you
$75
also,
transaction fee.
$75, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
$75 transaction fee. But that's also where you hit the status called icon, which is where you earn immediately half of your cap back in company paid stock. So immediately I got 8 grand paid into my stock account, which your stock account is basically like your built-in 401k plan,
yeah.
so it's like your retirement plan. And so I got that 8 grand back immediately. And then I became a certified mentor, and then I did all the, the things, attended the conferences and whatever else to be able to earn the other 8K back. So it's like you're earning over 100% for the duration of the year, essentially, when you
Yeah.
add it all up.
Yeah.
So
And it's
yeah.
huge when you do that. I've had people ask me, because I'll just say I was at Keller Williams for 5 years. My wife and I, we had a team over there, small team, but we did very well. We had the #1 Keller Williams team here for a while in Colorado
Nice.
Springs. And then I went to an independent company because, again, I just got tired of paying the fees. Nothing wrong
Yeah.
with Keller Williams, great company. I just wasn't using anything that they offered. I had all my own websites, tools, everything. and I'm paying a whole lot of money to hang my license there. And I just like, there's got to be a better way to do this, you know? After 5 years there, $105,000, I paid Keller Williams, and I've got a nice business card and a nice logo, but that was about the extent of it. So
Yeah.
I moved to basically 100% company. It was like a $300 transaction fee and $50 a month. And I thought I'd ride out my career there. A friend of mine in Dallas reached out to me, asked me to look at eXp. I said, I'll look. I'm always open to looking. You don't know what you don't know. You
Right.
said that already. So I've always, if somebody called me today, I go look at it. You know, whatever. You don't know what you don't know. But I told him, I said, there's no way I'm moving. Been there, done that. The big companies, you know. But I'll certainly
Right.
look at, you know, send me what you got, or you know, whatever. So I remember getting on a Zoom with him, and same as you, I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Like, is there a catch? Like, there's got to be a catch. Now, this was, you know, 5 years ago. There were like 5,000 people in the whole company. Nobody had heard of
Yeah.
this thing yet. And so I remember I looked at it, I'm like, wow, like, what if this works? What if this does what I think it could do? And I saw that icon status because I knew I would hit that. And
Mhm.
sure enough, I mean, you know, we hit it. So now I'm over 100%. And there's a lot of agents out there, well, that's impossible. You can't stay in
Right.
business if they're giving back more than what you're paying in. Here's the thing, I'd much rather get that 16,000 back in stock
Mhm.
than get my 16,000 back just a check written to me. You know,
Right.
our 16,000 we got back 5 years ago is worth tens of thousands today, you
Yes.
know? And so, oh my gosh, I mean, it's just, yeah, I've been over 100%. We got thousands of shares of stock just from doing what we are going to do anyway. We're just doing our real estate. You know,
Right.
people don't understand the value of that. So that's been big for you. That's been good for you getting that.
Oh yeah, huge.
And you did it all 3 years you've been here, right? 3 times you've hit
Yes, iconed all 3 years, and I icon a little bit earlier every year.
I hear you. Well, congratulations on that. That's a huge deal. It's a very big deal. What does your husband do, by the way? Can I ask that? What
Yeah, he's in marketing.
Okay, okay.
He's a
I got
marketing
you.
manager for a healthcare company.
Okay, okay. How many kids do you have?
Two.
2 kids. Okay. What are their ages?
One just turned 4, and the other one's getting ready to turn 2.
Okay. See, Mike, I got 2 daughters. They were 6 and 3 when I started in this business.
Okay.
You know, I wish I would have seen this. I mean, it didn't exist when I got my license, but I wish I would have seen a model like this
Right.
when I had the young kids. I mean, because how has it been for you as you're building your business? You know, how hard has it been for you to maintain some sense of balance when it comes to family? Has that been a challenge?
Yeah, very much so, because obviously, like, I have littles, and they're
Mhm.
very demanding. That in and of itself is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to put them in full-time daycare right away. And so I gradually built them up to full-time. And I only just put them both in full-time preschool this past August. So
Okay.
up until then, I still had one of them home with me, maybe, 2 days a week, or something along those lines. So I was still working a full-time career in addition to being a mom and a wife and everything else. And so I found that working with buyers, being gone for like 9 hours a day, then having to come home and only having, maybe 2 hours with my kids before having to put them to bed, and then having to come back to my computer and do, the offers and the like everything else. It just got to be too much, and my work-life balance wasn't
Yeah.
there. Because at that point I had gotten up to doing about 8 personal transactions a month. And
Wow.
so I have a coach, and my coach was like, well, you need a buyer's agent. And I'm like, okay. So, well, first was a transaction coordinator and then a buyer's agent.
Okay.
And so just simply adding the transaction coordinator really helped me, because all of that paperwork that I was doing at my computer, I didn't need to be doing that. Somebody else could easily do that, so they could
Right.
handle those details. So that was the first step. And then, naturally the next step was getting first I did a showing agent, because I was like, I don't need to split all that money with somebody else right away,
Right. Right.
So a showing agent, which then turned into a buyer's agent, which then turned into a few buyer's agents. And then now I have a team of 10. So I just added
Oh,
another agent. So
good for
it's
you.
amazing how it's grown. I birthed the team basically at the same time I birthed the baby, which I wouldn't recommend, but it has helped with work-life balance, and it's been amazing, because EXP has been very supportive in my career growth.
To get some leverage. How has the training been over here for you? Have you plugged
Amazing.
into yeah? Have you plugged into a lot of the training?
Yeah, I more so plug into like the Freedom Team things, and then I'm also a part of Jay Nelson's organization, so I plug into theirs. I don't hop into not workplace, the world as much as I should. Um, but I do take advantage of a lot of the resources that I have within the groups that I'm in. So I
Sure.
wouldn't have those if I weren't at EXP.
Sure. There is a thing out there, and I hear this sometimes too. Well, EXP is good for the good experienced agents. They'll do fine over there, but it's not good for new agents. What would you say to that?
Every single one of the agents on my team is a brand new baby agent, and
Really? Okay.
the like one of them, she did 19 transactions her first year. Her second
Awesome.
year, she just did like 35 transactions. So it's
Phenomenal.
here, and especially with the mentor program. So if you haven't had 3 transactions under your belt or in the last year, then you're automatically put in the mentorship program, which means you have a certified mentor assigned to you that you have that will work you through your first 3 transactions. So,
Yeah.
and then you also have the onboarding team that is there for you to help you with anything that you need onboarding wise. You have your state brokers, you have all the support groups, all of the people in the workplace chat, that you can just reach out to anybody and ask questions. You can join different groups. So like there's new agent groups and things like that. So there's tons of support. It's just a matter of asking for help.
Yeah. Plugging in. I always tell the story. I did, in fact, I did an interview with her, Kelly Courtner. She's an agent here in Colorado Springs. Great agent, phenomenal agent, and she got licensed like early like spring of 2020, and she was with another brokerage for a couple of months, but then she moved over here in June of 2020. Which you think about that, we were shut down. We couldn't show homes. There was
Yeah.
no open houses. Like horrible timing in terms of getting your real estate license. I mean, whatever. But the nice thing, of course, EXP, we're up and going full tilt with all of our training. None of that stopped. We did our conventions. They were virtual. They were online. I'd rather be in
Right.
Orlando, but it's better than not having it at all. We continued on business as usual as far as the infrastructure of EXP. But Kelly ended up doing. She did the last. Well, she iconed her first year, and she's done 90 deals in her first 2 years as a realtor. And anybody that's watching this, go back and watch the interview I did with Kelly. I mean, she's just singing the praises of EXP and the collaboration and the team and the
Right.
training and just all the stuff. And it's like if you plug in, you can do really well.
Hmm.
If you don't plug into anything, whatever. Like this isn't the magic pill. You still got to get out of bed and do your
Right.
business. And I see a lot of people getting into this business, and they do. They think, well, why my phone ringing? I'm a realtor now. It doesn't work that way. You still got to get up and get out of bed and get going. You got to hustle
Right.
this business. What have you seen here lately? What are you doing right now as far as the shifting market? I mean, it's affecting everybody, all of us realtors to some degree. What have you seen back there in Indianapolis for you?
Yeah, we're seeing listings sit on the market a little bit longer. We're
Yeah.
seeing them go probably about 5% below asking price. You've definitely got to look at the last 3 months worth of inventory to see what you should comp things at, instead of the last 6 months, because the market was completely different 6 months ago. Um, sorry. But yeah, it's definitely slowing down, but it hasn't stopped. I had a listing appointment yesterday. I put a listing live today. I put a listing live last week. So I'm
Good for you.
still
Yeah.
out there doing the things.
Yeah. I think we're going back to, I mean, to some degree, I mean, things are shifting. We're going back to some sense of a normal market. I mean, the last few years have not been, they've been anything but
No,
normal.
not been normal.
Like when I first got licensed, I remember here, at least here in Colorado Springs, the average days in the market was, I don't know, 40, 45 days. That's just what it was. But,
Hmm.
my first 5 years in the business, 2008, I mean, the bottom fell out. It was crazy, but we're not going back to that. I don't think we're anywhere close to going back to that. We're really, you look at the numbers right now, we're kind of back at the 2019 levels, sort of
Hmm.
in that range, which was a great year in real estate. I don't know what it's going
Right.
to do this next year, but anyway, the other thing too, I'm trying to help people is just like read beyond the headlines. If you just read the headlines, it's like, oh my goodness, like, let me go climb in a bunker and close the lid. Maybe I'll pop out in 6 months and see if we're all still here. I mean, it's doom and gloom when you read the headlines. If you
Yeah.
dig beyond the headlines, it's not, there's things going on, but you got to really understand the market. My wife and I, we had a client appreciation Christmas party here at our house a couple of weeks ago, and had
Hmm.
70, 80 people here. It was a great time. A bunch of past clients and current clients over. And I knew going into that, there's going to be a lot of conversations going on.
Yeah.
So I started diving into some of this stuff for a couple of days before the party.
Yeah.
And here there was this young couple, and I remember sitting out here at our dining room table, and they had been thinking about buying, but they were renting, and they're just like, I don't know the rates right now, and this and that, and whatever, and thinking, maybe a year from now, whatever. And I just showed them, like, like, here's the deal. Like, like if you like okay, the rates are a little bit higher than they were 6 months ago. Absolutely. But so let's look at this. Here's the price of a home 6 months ago. Here's
Right.
what you can get it for now. 50,000 less. It basically, your payment just went up like $23 compared to what it would have been if you'd have bought that house at the 50,000 higher with the
Right.
lower rate 6 months ago. And they were like, oh, wow. And the more they looked at this and we had this conversation, they went out looking with us at a house. They looked at one house on Monday. They were under contract on Tuesday, yesterday, and they were thinking to wait for another year, and they're
Yeah.
thrilled. So, I mean, again, it's just, I think we got to have these conversations with our clients right now. We haven't had to have conversations with clients for the last couple of years. So anyway, it's just, I don't know, throwing that out there. It's not as doom and gloom as what the headlines can make it.
No.
I think we got to read past that.
And if they're currently renting, you've got to think about how much they're literally throwing down the drain in rent that they're not going to get back. And at least if they're, paying towards a mortgage, they can have that in equity.
Yeah. 100% interest if you're renting.
Right.
You're not getting anything for that.
Yeah.
So,
that
what do you,
a lot better than 100%.
Definitely. What's your goal this coming year with your team? What do you think you'll end up? What do you want to be doing with your team this year?
The goal is to add an agent per month. So add 12 agents by the end of the year, and to at least
right
double.
There locally, Indianapolis, like you're.
Yeah, in Indianapolis. Okay. But it doesn't have to all be right here. Like we can obviously access the entire state. Indiana is not like a huge state. So even if it is, an hour and a half away, that's a completely different market. That's completely okay. So it doesn't have to be just Indianapolis. We service like all of central Indiana, but we can expand out. So whatever happens, I'm open to it. But and then the goal would be to at least double our transaction count.
And where would that put you at the end of next year?
So right now we're sitting at about 80 transactions over the last 12 months, because I did mention we do have all brand new baby agents. So a lot of them are just getting started, just getting their first transactions under their belt. So even though we have 10 on our team, a lot of those are, 1, 2, 3, 5 transactions per agent. So so maybe 150 by this time next year.
Very cool. A couple more questions, then we'll be done. What's been what do you feel like, if you can think back over the last 5 years? I mean, what would you say has been your biggest challenge in this business? It might be a lifestyle thing, because the business it's just, you're figuring it all out again, how to balance. I mean, what would you say is your biggest challenge?
Navigating the ebbs and flows and adapting as my business changes, because my business looks drastically different than it did, 6 months ago, a year ago, and definitely different than it looked 5 years ago. So just adjusting and so I was listening to a training call earlier, because I do that a lot when I'm driving. I listen to like other webinars and things like that. And they were talking about, like, when you go on a trip, you have a plan, where you're going. And so therefore, which roads to take to get there. But with real estate, there's no like roadmap at all. So how do you know where you're going? And so if you have a goal, at least in mind, and you have somebody who can help you get to that point and kind of help you lay out that roadmap, then it makes things so much easier. So I would say, if somebody does not have a coach and they're starting out in this business, invest in a coach, because they can be that guide that helps you get to what your goals are. They've been there before, they know how to get there. And so I would say getting a coach sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I had a coach for 9 years, my first 9 years. And in 2.5 years after I got licensed, I was in the top 20 here in Colorado Springs. And I would give 100% of the credit to the coach that I had in that coaching group. It was phenomenal. So it was a lot of money, but oh my gosh, it made us hundreds of, probably a couple $1 million, seriously.
Right. And you would have spent more, and it would have taken you longer to get to where you were had it not been for that.
Totally. Get around the right people.
Yeah.
Get good mentoring, collaboration, get on a good team if you need a team. But, but I do tell people, even on a team, like, as best as you can, like, it's good to, kind of figure things out along the way. Get as independent on that team as you can.
Right.
So you're not 100% relying on the team. Something wrong with the team. I had a team for 13 years. But at the same time, but don't rely 100% on the team in that sense,
Right.
because any number of things can happen along the way too. But
Mhm. And
no,
I
very good.
encourage my agents to, like I say, use me, learn from me, learn from the experiences that I've had, and then take that. And then when you are ready to go out on
Mhm.
your own, stay at eXp because it's the best brokerage out there. So
Sure.
like they can still go independent and still be in my organization and I can still help them. And that's another beautiful thing about eXp is you can have what they call like a, modern day team, which is
Yeah.
not like the traditional team too.
Right.
So
Right. That's usually what happens here. People might
Mhm.
leave like your actual team right
Right,
there, what everybody thinks of as a real estate team, but they're probably not going to leave EXP. They've got
right,
stock vested, they got all kinds of stuff going on there. Maybe they've built their own, revenue share,
right.
modern team organization. Like, why would you leave all that? And so they might leave your team, but you still are going to, be able to be in there with them collaboration wise, but still override
Yes.
what they're doing in their business. And whether they're on your team or not. So it's a great thing for team leaders. That was one of the
Mhm.
biggest challenges I had with my team. I'd get an agent and they'd build up to 30, 40 deals a year and they would go start their own team. And that's great. But next time I go, crud, I just created my competition and now they're at another
Yeah.
company and whatever. And I get nothing out of them ever again. And
Right.
it's all good. I mean, whatever, still, all the good friends out there in the business. But man, that was hard, and trying to replace them was hard,
Right.
because man, they were, but this model just it helps eliminate that piece of it for sure. So where do you want to be 5 years from now with your business?
Ooh,
Any thoughts there?
man. So like it's hard because I didn't ever envision myself where I am now 5 years ago. So it's hard to see where I'm going to be 5 years from now because it almost is like I'm putting a limit on myself.
Right.
But I know that I need to have a game plan and I need to have a thought in mind as far as like where I want that to be and everything. So
Sure.
I have no limit to how much to grow my team because as long as I have the systems in place, whether I have, 5 agents or 50 agents, it's no different. So I would say maybe being a mega icon team by that point would be
Mhm.
a big goal because then I could get that cap down to 4K per agent instead of the 8K that they're on now, being on the team.
Yeah.
Um, and transaction wise, I don't know. But I mean, like, it'd be amazing to be making a million GCI. That'd be awesome. I'm sure that'll
Right.
happen sooner than 5 years, but I mean, that'll be,
It
man,
can totally happen sooner than 5 years for you.
yeah,
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I think, and again, I think because of this model, now 5 years from now, your kids are what, 9 and 7, and so you know it's like, to be able to free yourself up to be able to just truly live a great life, and
yeah,
have great time with your kids and build great memories with your kids. I remember we love to travel. We started traveling when our kids were, I mean, they did a couple of trips, but like 10 and 8. I remember we took them to Disney World, and I was still working 90 hours a week in my real estate, and they had the time of their life. We had a great trip, but man, I can tell you multiple times I'm on the phone, standing in line on
right,
rides and putting out fires in my real estate. And I'm in the hotel room while they're at the park and meet my wife later. And we got all those stories, but this model, I think, has allowed us to, really do unbelievable things, time wise, getting our
yeah,
time back. I mean, that's what we got, freedom team. It's allowed us to have more time freedom and financial freedom,
yeah,
which is like what we all get into this business for. But then after a while, it's like, oh my God, the business owns me.
right,
If I don't do it right and I don't set it up right, next thing you know, you're dying. There's so many burnout agents out there
right.
because they
And that's
just,
where I was before, before I added those help, the people that could help. And if you don't want to do like a traditional team, then that can be your modern day team. It doesn't have to be because they have like another format that you could do that's oh, what is that one called? I can't remember. There's another team format that's not a traditional team. It's not a modern day team. It's just a of course I would forget the name of it. But anyway,
yeah,
it's just people that can help you, be a
right, right,
support
right,
system.
for sure, for sure. No, awesome. Last question. What's the is there if you could pick one thing, what's the one thing you're most excited about as far as being at EXP? Is there one thing you can think of?
Yeah, just I know we've said it already, but just everything that they have available there. So people have asked me before if I, want to go off and start my own brokerage one day. Like there's absolutely zero reason for me to ever leave because I have all of the tools and all of the resources and none of the liability, none of the risk here at eXp. So I can literally have my own company brokered by eXp Realty and have everything available for my people on a small basis, but then also on a large basis because of everything that eXp offers.
Yeah.
So just everything. If you haven't
Yeah.
seen the model yet, watch the model because you'll be blown away with
Totally.
just literally everything that's at your fingertips.
That's the natural progression for a lot of people. If they're building and growing too big, the next step is you bring on a transaction coordinator, you bring on an assistant, you maybe bring on a buyer agent, another buyer agent, maybe another, different thing. You build a team. And a lot of people, I remember, when I had my team, then it's like, when are you gonna start your own brokerage? I'm like, and even back then, I'm like, I just didn't want the liability of that.
Right.
I didn't want the headaches that went along with that. I knew there'd be headaches. I mean, it can be adult daycare at times. I just didn't want to do that, but I felt stuck after a while too. It's like, I'm like, there's just, how many more people can I hire? And how much more expense can I come out with to make this team run and work, whatever. And then again, seeing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like they figured it out. They figured it out, which is why you've got, good Lord. They think 1,000 independent brokers are going to bring you brokerages to eXp in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Over 500 have, in the last 12 months. So anyway, it's a perfect fit for them. It's like, yeah, why would I ever start my own brokerage?
It really is because you don't have to pay per head. A lot of the brokerages, they charge like per head and I don't have that here. So I literally have no like per agent cost at all that I have to deal with. So I only spend money when I'm making money or they're making money or whatever. So I have no money coming out of my pocket until that point based on the way that I have it set up.
For sure. Well, congratulations on everything you've done. Seriously. 5 years in and to be doing the kind of production you're doing and building a team the way you built. There's agents that they would dream about having that kind of production. So seriously, congratulations on all your success and the icon status with eXp. That's huge, 3 times now. Thank you. I know you're going to have a big year, 2023. It's going to be good. So you're going to do great. So, well, I appreciate your time. Definitely, guys. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you're watching it, you can subscribe on my channel. But if you have any questions for either Jocelyn or I, put them in the comments, whatever. We will get back to you. If you know Jocelyn, you're friends with her, and you've never seen this model, reach out to her. Let her show you why she moved over here. Let her show you how, what's going on over here, why we are growing the way we're growing, and all the advantages to be here. It's definitely worth a look to at least evaluate it for yourself one way or another. But Jocelyn, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Have a great Christmas. Enjoy your family. Enjoy some downtime in 2023. It's going to be big.
You as well.
We'll kick it in. So, guys, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.